And welcome back to Sullivan's Backstage Pass. I'm here with Joe. Joe, I'm so happy to be with you today.
Same here.
And
It's a great day, and welcome to the studio.
thank you. What an amazing studio this is, right?
It's
You
more
get,
of a practice room, but yeah.
but still, you look at the walls and you see all of this nostalgia and all of these really cool musical influence. Because I really am a firm believer that uh, memorabilia contains memory, and when you have memory like this in a room like this, it makes better music.
It's inspiration for me, and
Yeah,
a lot of good friends and stuff that I see on the walls that I don't know makes me play better. Actually, thinking of good times, and good gigs and such. But it's my little I don't know little respite away from everything, and I love it here.
yeah, and I love the fact that we're having this conversation because you quintessentially are what my podcast is all about. And what I mean by that is journeyman musicians that have helped the backbone of music in this country without receiving the front person limelight.
No, I've been a sideman, like they
Yeah,
said, but for very good, I mean, Hall of Famers, and so I've gotten to really see the true rock and roll lifestyles and ins and outs and ups and downs and, frustrations of people that I looked up to and see the humanism in them. And so that's about, I don't know, that's just what I think about it all. It being a sideman is makes me feel good. I love being able to just play, and um, a lot of the times I ended up not being just a sideman. I'd be out there singing, and you see me with Eric up there playing bass up front, and a bass player quit, and so I knew a really good drummer that I know, a friend of Ivan from Rob Zombie's band, and John King. They went to music school together, and so I talked to John, and he joined the band, and I play multiple instruments, and so pretty soon I'm playing bass up front with with a legend, so
and how do you
fun.
keep from geeking out, right? Because like if that were me and I'd be on the stage, I would be like so nervous. Like how do you, as a professional musician, how do you keep from like that whole like
It,
from
it,
turn
it,
from
it fades pretty quick that they're just a regular person. And like Mike Davis from MC5, him pulling up in his BMW and seeing him get out, and I'm rock star written all over him, and just thinking, oh my gosh, man, this is real. He's really here. And then pretty soon he's at my house in the studio and hanging out, and so to play with him, he's a regular guy, to me, and we became very good friends and stuff, and barbecuing with them. They like my barbecues, that kind of stuff, and so we got to really know each other really well. So when we're on stage, it's like just a team, playing good and then smiling and having fun. The whole thing for me is just to have a good time. I always wanted to just be able to play one dang song and not screw it up. I had a girl in, I think it was junior high when I was first playing guitar, and bring my guitar, and I'm excited. I got an electric guitar and she's got an acoustic guitar, and it's whatever day of, a sharing day of some sort. And I play my little one string song. I think it was even Satisfaction or something like that. It was in the 60s. And, uh, and then she gets up playing flamenco and stuff like this, just destroys me. And then so it was a really good lesson, and befriended her and everything, picked up what I could from her. But it's just, you know, they're human, and Dean, like I was talking about when he was playing for Ozzy, and my drummer's getting cymbals from him, and I'm sitting there, with my jaw dropped open, feeling pretty dumb, you know, as he's telling them, well, I broke all the cymbals you gave me and this kind of thing. And he goes, well, Rick, I just gave you cymbals not long ago. I don't know, man. And he was you know, spokesman for Sabian cymbals and stuff. So he had hordes of cymbals playing for Ozzy Osbourne, you know, and so, but things like that, you know, here I am in the background, you know, just kind of watching, and I'm in this guy's house, you know, I'm in Ozzy Osbourne's drummer's house, you know, that kind of thing. And so, but also Rick Hendricks, like I was telling you about, member of the Hendricks family playing big concerts around L.A. And back then it was him and another guitarist named Randy Hansen that were the big Hendrix acts and stuff there.
He is one of my favorite musicians
Yeah.
today, Randy Hansen.
Well,
He's been on my bucket list to record a podcast with for so many years.
yeah.
Yeah. He
I never met him, but
oh my God. And the reason I say it is because, like, okay, I saw him 2 years ago at the young age of 70, whatever, doing things on stage that I can't do today at 40, 48. Like, yeah.
well, him and Rick are, you know, probably equal in talent, and but Rick was an actual family member, and I was at Rick's house. That was a problem, as I had to drive dang near 100 miles to practice with him in San Bernardino, and I lived in Long Beach at the time. And but anyway, being at the house, his mom was really nice, feeding us and bringing out pictures of the Hendricks family and Al and Rick, and you know how he's a cousin, and explaining everything. And I'm just in awe, you know. At here I am talking to a family member, and she's bringing up their personal pictures, showing me all this stuff there, and hanging with Rick, you know. But how I met Rick was like through my friend Junior, who was doing concert security, and Rick, well, he told Rick that he needed a better drummer, and so Rick wanted to see what was the deal. So Junior got married, and then the band I was in, it was called Poke, of all things, which meant a sex act at the time, and we had quite the following there. That's a whole nother story. But I did a really good drum solo, and it was really memorable because people thought I was playing with my head, and I was up on a big riser. This is at Griffith Park, and anyway, as I'm doing like these triplets like this, I had hit my knuckle on one of my floor toms, and it was really hot, and I had wiped my forehead, and I had a bandana, and I was using it to try to soak it up, but it was bleeding. I had probably still got the scar from that dang thing, and but I had blood going all down my forehead, and so while I was doing these triplets like this, from the, we're on a high stage and stuff, the people were looking up, and they're thinking I'm bashing my head into the drums and stuff there. And so Rick is going, I've never seen anybody do that, and that kind of stuff there. And people are telling me this, and I'm knowing I wasn't really doing that, but they were so excited about it, and I just let it go, So people would ask me even afterwards, hey, do that head thing you do like that, playing with your head, bashing. And I go, I don't do that no more.
So let's back up a bit, though, right? Because I'm really curious, because I know you as this phenomenal drummer, but you started with the guitar, right? What prompted you to get started in music in the first place?
My dad was a jazz pianist, and that's my dad over here, the soldier there back when he was in Korea, during the Korean War. And so I was around music from a long, long time. And he was really into blues and jazz and stuff, and he played in New Orleans. The family's from Louisiana, that part of the family. My mom was from Texas, and but so I listened growing up to blues, all the blues greats, the Fats Waller, a lot of I mean, just tons of great players and stuff. But the first album my dad bought me was a Jimi Hendrix Are You Experienced? And like this goes, Joey, you got to hear this. And he had made me my first amplifier. And he was an electrician too, is another side thing that he did. And oh my gosh, I should tell you the story of my first gig. And
Yes,
like that,
please.
I talked to a couple hippie girls and stuff there that were across the street, older girls. And I had asked them, what we need our name for our band. And I don't know if they didn't hear me or they were just high. But they go, oh, we like Iron Butterfly. That's a good name. You like that? And I go, I love it. And so I made all these posters that says Iron Butterfly was going to be at this ice cream social at elementary school. And then here we come stepping out on the stage, and my dad's watching me for the first time and stuff. And oh man, it was so, people were pissed off and getting mad and stuff. And my dad's looking around, and because here we come out, a bunch of kids, and we're playing Rolling Stones, just easy. I always picked out stuff I could play, you know, so it was just 3 chord songs of the 60s. And there was, anyway, my dad gave him my first compliment. He died when I was 15, so anyway, he told me after the show we did, you know, the people, a lot of them stayed and clapped and they laughed about it, you know, a few of them left, and well, a number of them left. But he told me, he goes, son, I do not know what I would have done in that situation. He goes, you're going to be a great performer. And that was how I just naturally engaged with the crowd really well, apparently. And people laughed along, and I just was like the main spokesperson for the band and everything. And so we finished our show and had a good crowd, and people clapped and everything. But what an embarrassing little while there it was. So
At the same time, that's so cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, fortuitous, if you will. You know, like, you couldn't have planned it, but,
no,
you know, it at the end, it all worked out. But how about the transition then from guitar to drums?
I joined the band, and I wanted to just play music and learn, you know, theory and some things. My dad was trying to teach me piano, and I hated piano from him because he got pissed off of it pretty easy, and it was not a good experience. So the one instrument I do not play to this day is keyboards and stuff. I can play a little, but no, I don't like keyboards for some reason. So in there, I met a guy named Willie Dixon, and he was actually a ninth grader. I was seventh grade, and actually, w- have to back up a bit because when I lived in Texas, it was really poor area where it was, and it's segregated and everything. But they had jukes and stuff. There are places that were the blues clubs. W.C. Clark there, from Stevie Ray and stuff there. You see, he signed the poster. I got to speak to him a long time. And W.C. told me, he goes, I actually played in Hearn where I was born, this little town. And but we would, as long as we could stay out, you know, once it got kind of very dark, you know, we'd get in trouble. But we'd play on coffee cans along with the blues guys and stuff there. And so that was with another kid, and we were going to be drummers from back Little Tykes and stuff. So anyway, back up to Willie Dixon. He was a ninth grader, I was seventh grader, and he was going to Hawaii playing with groups and stuff. So he could play a
At
drum
ninth
set really
grade?
well in ninth grade and stuff there. So he was like a young talent, you know, and really good. And he played soul music, and I learned a lot of soul at first, drums and stuff, and so a lot of the drummers, I played drums all the way through high school and then, junior college, and did the marching bands, drum and bugle corps, learning being a rudimental drummer, and we did all kinds of things. Played a Rams 49ers game, a halftime where we had 5 drum sets playing, and with a marching band and stuff there for this one particular show that we did. And, it was a nationally televised show thing. And it was just a quick thing. I don't even know if they really showed us. I never
Yeah.
got to see it, of course. But all along I played in different bands and stuff there. And like Polk, if you see online, you'll see all these people from LA. They'd be going like Moby Dick and stuff like this, because I used to do this from Zeppelin, a Moby Dick drum solo. And so people would call that out all the time. And so that people would double park, huge parties, playing at Irvine College. Student body president, he bailed me out of jail for all my fix-it tickets. I had a 59 VW bus I was going to my gigs with, and only had a 6-volt system in it. So I get all these fix-it tickets and stuff, and I had to appear in court, and I'd forget. I was just partying and playing, and so I had a warrant out for me, and I got taken to jail, the Orange County Jail. God, doggone, man. And anyway, Walt, who was the student body president, he bailed me out of jail, because he wanted me to play for Irvine, for their college, and so we were in demand, kind of a thing, but not famous or anything. But later on, back once I started playing for Rick Hendricks and stuff, and that was probably a year is all I could handle going back and forth so far. But we outdid Randy Hansen, let me tell you, back then, and he still kept going on. And I think Rick must have passed on. I just lost touch with him. And I moved up here, got married, I had a kid, and so came up here, and I didn't have a drum set. And so finally I got to play at a jam, and people were going, wow, and so pretty soon I was playing with Gary Mazier, and
Do you remember what jam it was?
West Side Station used to have these jams and stuff there, and a guy named Kevin Hansen let me play. And but there was another band called Tierra, and them and this group up here, God, what was their name at first? Later on they were the Intelligence, and with G and TS is the last part of the name. And so I joined that band, and there was 2 bands in this big, huge house called the Liberty House. And it was just a big hippie house where, there was one guitar player from Rat, the group Rat. I don't remember them. And he would be coming through and stuff, and I'd be like, show me some, because I played drums, but I was always wanting to play guitar too, because I had ideas for songs, and I wrote some good ones where, the guitar players would go, yeah, I like that, what you're playing there, that thing. So they'd fix it, make it better. And, but I was a writer of music, so like Voodoo Tuna, I wrote almost all the music for that band and stuff there. And we did it together, but as far as the guitar parts, like a riff, and I was very riff-driven type music and stuff, like old rock and roll, and stuff there. And so I got playing more guitar, more and more, and man, there's just so many bands that I've been in. Here's Apparition, played for that one, and this hat over here and Backstage, that's from Eddie Money. The whole band signed that hat, and then Eddie Money, I met him through my brother-in-law. My wife, turns out, her sister Mary is married to a guy named Joey Shallow. So while one of her daughters was getting married, we're in Maui, and then Joey mentions that he manages Paul Rogers and Eddie Money. And so when Eddie Money was on tour, I got invited to, I got to eat dinner with the band. And, well, I was sort of on stage with Eddie Money. And they have these trucks, they're 18-wheelers that flip into stages kind of thing, because he's doing kind of like a beach circuit at this time. And so anyway, we're going out on this field. I think it was Tillamook, this particular place this time. And so it's like a fairground. So it's this bumpy ride thing. And so Joey comes up to the tour bus. I was hanging out because I had made friends with some of the band members. And he goes, would you help us? We got the stage all set up, but we got to move it. And so I'm holding, I forget the guitar player's name, but he has 5 Strats on a rack. And I'm holding these things and we're wheeling out there. And here's Eddie Money comes walking out, and he's, talking to Joey and stuff like this. And I'm going, wow, I'm on stage with Eddie Money. So, no, I didn't play with him or anything like that. But really, I got to meet the whole family, things like that. It's, and spending time with Joey, he still handles, I don't even know all the people he's handling right now, but he's a big time manager for, different rock groups and stuff. So, but that's my brother-in-law, kind of a cool thing.
That's really awesome. And so I guess the follow-up question to that is, because it's something I'm always fascinated with, because a lot of my listeners are inspiring or aspiring musicians.
Yeah.
From somebody that has been a professional for so long, why is it important that musicians get along with other musicians if you want to have a long career in music?
Well, it's important if you want to keep playing, especially when you're a sideman and you get into, you're working for somebody, like Eric Loveray. We're not friends really kind of anymore. We had difference of opinion on a few things. And we just ended up not being compatible. I have no, animosity. I don't talk bad about people, and it wouldn't be anything really bad. And but I left him and said that, hey, I don't want to play with you anymore. I got to go on. I want to do something different, because the music is the very BLS kind of stuff, and I'm a metal kind of heavier rock, and I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And so I left it as best as I could, and the thing. But to get along, you have to find people that you like, and it's a good fit. Like Rick and I, we could have gone on and on. Rick Hendricks and I, on and on. And I just had on my Facebook thing a DJ Witchman from the band It's a Beautiful Day. Remember that?
Yeah.
That song Whitebird and stuff there? He was just here, and we're really good friends. He used to work for Fender, and you'll see on my Facebook page, a lot of interaction between us. And but we jammed together many, many times, and just a lot of the local musicians. We used to get up at Silver Falls, these ranch houses up there that they have, and there'd be most of the musicians that probably 30 or 40. Gary would be there, and I can't even remember all the different people. People from this band Kick, and but we'd all get together, and the thing about getting along, you're kind of networking. It's important, if you're an up-and-coming musician, be a cool guy, and network with people, make friends. Don't think too much of yourself, because you can learn all the time, and I'm always learning. I'm not the best, that kind of thing. And I think people respect that you're you're just open to listen. And a lot of times, it's not much me talking much at all. I'm listening to what they want, what they're trying to create. And really, like, you'll hear in my drumming, I can go and rip through songs and stuff, or used to be able to more before I got my hand all messed up. But you play to enhance the music, and you find that the song, and like when I played in orchestras, I might be waiting a long, long time to go ding on a triangle or something, or just a little timpani roll, and these type of things there. But the whole thing as a group, you're making this masterpiece of music and stuff. And then you'll find sometimes people are going to get kicked out of bands for trying to be a showboat, trying to overplay and this kind of thing. And the people that make it on good recordings and this type of thing, they enhance the song, and so I think that's an important thing.
And then in terms of like your love for music, what is it about playing on stage or playing in front of an audience that you enjoy the most?
Oh, their smiles, pure joy, and I mean past joy. I was, playing a heavy rock and different things. I've seen, people mosh pitting to all kinds of different things, and fighting. I was telling you about what hasn't been on here where.
We're going to get to that next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen people just lose it, and go all the way from a nice gig and joyful type of thing where they're fighting and everything, and there's a smile on my face because part of it is you're going, we caused this, oh my gosh, what did we do, and you're realizing that as people are talking about it, good, bad, whatever, you don't want it too bad, of course, but in a good way that you drew that many people, and that way, to me, we're going to make more money. You feel like you're reaching the mark you set for yourself, goals, and of getting popular, and making a good amount of money. And but to me, I play for free a lot of times just to see the smiles on the people's face. I did, so much, but there's a number of the professionals that really, money is a big thing, that you don't play for free. You gotta set yourself that you're worth this money and this kind of thing, and that'll help you along. I've seen it, and I'd be going, hey, I know where we can go jam here like this, and they go, no, we don't do that. Let's get some of these guys, Mike Davis and some of this stuff there, and you come jam here in my backyard and stuff like that, but not where. Well, I think that we're under the labels, and you can't just go play. You're kind of stuck to approved gigs to a certain degree. As you get further up there.
So once you reach a certain point, the label sort of puts a restriction on you that says you can only play at approved venues.
I don't never signed the paper.
Interesting.
But you'll find Dean from Journey, he plays with some other friends of mine, a band called JFK, and Joel Kenny is his name, and you'll have Dean Casanova, the guy I was telling you about, from playing with him at times for shows there, but I'm not sure. All I know is that a lot of the guys have said that I can't do that. I just can't go jam anywhere, there's like a, I don't know if it's an underneath thing or if it is really the label saying this, but I get the impression that it's part of a signed. Well, actually, it is with some of them. My friend in a group, oh God, I'm trying to remember their name. This is all the way from college and stuff there. Oh, the Zeeks were their name. And there's another group later on called the Zeeks, but this is the original Zeeks. And they had Country Joe McDonald, remember him? He passed away not long ago. He opened up for them. He was one of the people. And but they couldn't just go play anywhere. And they were playing for Warner Brothers. Man, they got screwed. I mean, tell you, they hopefully it's okay to say like that. I don't want to get sued by Warner Brothers. You
Yeah,
know?
let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not put yourself at risk.
Yes.
Out there,
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So,
they were. I can just say this: they were under a 10-year contract that they had signed, and it said that you can't sell music or perform. This is just along what we're talking about.
yeah.
And for 10 years, unless it's Warner Brothers approval kind of thing. So it was in a contract before that. And it came to the point where they had got fired from a gig. Anyway, they were on a tour with some group and they weren't a good fit for them. So they got fired from their gig, the Zeeks at the time. And they also, Warner Brothers changed their name to the Whiz Kids. That was really funny.
Well, that did it in for them.
But we were up in the studio, and Zappa downstairs, it was Bizarre Records, and Zappa owned Bizarre Records, and I think it was Rising Sun, and a lot of famous groups recorded down there. Make a long story short, we're doing a song called The Train Song, and it was the last song for their album that they were paying for out of their own pocket. And but so they're doing this at Bizarre Records, and Bizarre Records was a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. They get done, and then I'm waiting for them after all I did was clap on the album. You know, we're all friends and everything, surfing buddies. You know, we all went surfing together all the time, and we had a big, huge guy buddy of ours called Buddha. And so if any time we have problems, we go, Buddha, you know, like this. And there's this probably dang near 400-pound guy come in and muscles everywhere. And anyway, Buddha starts throwing stuff around in this Frank Zappa studio, Bizarre Records thing. And they're all pissed off, and I've not known what's going on as they come out. And it turned out Warner Brothers had seized their tapes. They wanted to get the rest of their album. And Duffy, I remember him, he was the producer, said that, and didn't even tell them. And they seized their tapes, the big, you know, whatever inch tapes and stuff. The old days, I know they were using those. And anyway, all they had there was the song that they had just did. The whole rest of the album was gone, not even in the studio, is what Duffy had said. Buddha was ready to kill him over this, and all Kenny and Lenny, who were brothers in the band, they were all upset and everything. But the point is that one is they couldn't perform, they told him, or as the Whiz Kids or anything, and I don't even know how long. I think maybe they'd only did a year or two. So they had 8 years that they basically couldn't perform as their old name, or even the Zeeks or the Whiz Kids. And so that's, you know, what happened there.
Cautionary tale.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. And then I do want to circle back to that story sort of that you were talking about before we went on air, because as you were talking to me about that whole situation with the police and stuff, I was like, wait, what?
That was this group up here, the Reps.
The Reps?
Uh-huh.
So how did that start? Like, was that like a concert that was sort of planned, or?
Well, I met Juan through, what was it, Oregon Sound, I think it was called, or Cascade Sound. And he was in there trying to get PA gear and stuff like this. And so he heard me jamming on a guitar, and we talked and everything. And he said he needs someone to record in his studio. Then I found out there were 6 rappers and stuff there, so we ended up getting together, and I became doing a lot of different parts on different albums, few albums that we did. And so we started getting airplay because Juan was really good at marketing our stuff. And get online, talk calls, everything, he's just a good, go-getter. And so 95.5 was the big hip-hop station. I don't know if it still is or whatever, but hip-hop was really becoming big. I mean, a lot of the rock and stuff that I was doing, the clubs weren't really paying that much anymore, and it was kind of slowing down. And I had my singer die, and so I was having to restart, and I was doing better with Juan. And so he hooks up with Silk from 95.5, and they start playing our song a lot of Ain't No Doubt About It. And we had other ones, but that was the one that took off. And so we had another CD release party, and Silk announced it all over the radio. And if you want to see the raps, go to Salem, and they're going to be at the Moonbaker Club and stuff there. And so we rented a big stretch limo and stopped at Duffy's, this club. And these guys are young, wild rapper guys. And so they're handing out flyers in Duffy's to go to Moonbaker's. So I ended up getting 86 out of that club. And then, so Moonbaker's, we end up getting finally to where we're playing. And while we're playing, more and more people keep coming in. It's crowding in. And the owner, I can't remember his name, but he's saying that we're past the fire code and this kind of thing. And so people are outside and filling up Liberty Street all the way down to Penny's. I don't even know where they parked all their cars to do this and stuff. And all of our T-shirts got sold, a couple hundred or more. I don't even know how many, but I remember there were boxes of these T-shirts, and all of our CDs sold, just gone. And so people put on the T-shirts, and tons of people are wearing our T-shirts and stuff. And pretty soon the police come, and then there was just a few, and then they leave. And then they coming up Liberty Street. They got dogs in the front, and there must have been, I'd say, about over 30 of them marching like soldiers in formation with cruisers behind them, going slow to try to, clear the street. And I'm loading my stuff in the back of the Hummer. And one of the police officers, as he's walking by, he's talking on a radio, and he goes, "I don't know what gang this is, but they're all wearing these white T-shirts." And I go, "What? There's no gang like this." And he goes, "Shut up to me." He goes, "Or you're going to jail, And I just go, "Okay," like this. And then they just go just a little bit past the Hummer and stop, just stay there for a little bit, and then they back out and leave. And there's people still fighting all over the place, just people all over. No traffic could go through there at all. And no band in Salem that I know of ever did this before. This was tops it all the bands as far as drawing a crowd that I know of in Salem. And anyway, the next day the paper comes out, and I was telling you I have the clipping in my closet there. I've got tons of posters and stuff in there of different things. And this Captain Okada or whatever, whoever it was, but he was the spokesman for the police department. He said it was unsafe, that they left because it was unsafe for such a large crowd, for that the number of the crowd compared to the police officers, essentially, that they might have gotten hurt and they didn't have the capability to deal with the loud, huge crowd. And I think they thought they had weapons, that it was a gang, that here's this huge gang that they're just, and so they were scared to death of all the people. And so that's basically what happened, you know. And but the rappers were pretty radical, and they get obliterated. One of the guys got so drunk he comes out, and we're getting back in the Hummer. The show's over, and he comes up and he goes, and he's two sheets to the wind. He goes, "I'm ready to do the show." You know? I go, "You already did it." You know? So anyway, they were a little bit much for me, you know, that. So I didn't stay with them, and went back to playing, I forget which band, you know. Oh, Eric is when I got with MC5's Mike Davis there, and Eric loved it, and started doing indie music and stuff there, and it was peaceful.
Yeah. And you were telling me a little bit before we got on air too that you ended up on a Lil Wayne album.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Of all things, a guy 2 houses down was one of the rappers that I had met. And he had these different, he had a little studio up at his house. And this guy did it with a laptop, a few microphones, and the stuff there. Now, at the Reps, we had a full, beautiful studio, top of the line gear, tridents, and huge keys and bullet holes in the wall.
I love it.
These were gangsters. They were pretty radical guys there, and so Chris, I baptized him in the backyard, and he. We became really good friends and stuff, and I had get a bit emotional because he got sick, mentally ill, and got sicker and sicker. But he contacted Lil Wayne with one of the songs we did, and it was really a good song, hook line. And so he was going back and forth telling me about it, and it's on the. And we got signed as far as permission for him to do it. So it was a Young Money label was what it's called. And it was Volume 13, Young Money Volume 13. And like I said, Brandy, there's a bunch of other. I don't really listen to like a whole lot of hip hop, but people that I know that do are going, "Oh, this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so on the album," you know, and I haven't even told you about my cousin that is with the Audibles. He does music for Snoop Dogg and a lot of different people. He has the biggest studio in Las Vegas there, and that's a whole nother story there. So anyway, Chris contacted Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne got the rights to the song, asked it what we want for it. And I told him, I go, "Well, I want my name on the album. If it's on there, I want credit." Like this, and I go, "I don't care about the money." Chris did most of the legwork of it, and he needed money and stuff there, and I was okay, you know. I didn't think we were going to get really a whole lot or anything. I have no idea what he got out of it, and but he put the song on the album, and like I said, it sold 75K in 1 week. It came out where Lil Wayne. Chris is bringing over his postings, and he's got his phone. He goes, "Look at this. So 75K in 1 week. Look what Lil Wayne's putting on here, you know." And so I was going, "Holy shit, man.
What's
We
the name
did
of the
that."
song?
Hook line.
Hook Line by Lil
And
Wayne. Look it up,
it's
folks.
Young Money,
Yeah.
Volume 13, and the song's Hook Line. And Chris is the one doing the rapping, and that guitar in there is me, you know, on it. So, but if you pull it up, I think it's Spotify. It comes across as my name comes across Guitar by Joe Lefore, like this, and then Chris pointed out to me that you're the only one that got credit as a musician on that whole record and stuff there, you know. So I felt that was pretty cool.
That's gotta be like one of the coolest moments ever to like see your name on an album that has so much acclaim.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
And then like the one I showed you, my name on there with all those stars there.
Yeah.
And then of all those 10, these 10 albums, my name's not on all of them, but it's the same song. And I'm on there with so many stars that are the top, classic rockers that exist, and this particular one I showed you, it's got Santana, Deep Purple, Toto, uh, just many, many more acts there. So,
And then along the way, like, what, looking back through like your performances over your lifetime, what performance stands out where you like got done with a live set and you were like thinking to yourself, "This was perfect."
probably playing with Rick Hendricks and that drum solo I did, and listening to the crowd screaming, and I couldn't understand what the heck they were so screaming, like I said, and they thought I was playing with my head. And we're playing Griffith Park. Oh, well, we also played at the beach for surf things and stuff there. So you could imagine everybody at the beach is there to see you. They're listening, But that Griffith Park is huge, and anyway, that was probably one of the bigger moments, as far as gratifying to me, because it was people were focused on me over Rick Hendricks even, and everybody else. They were so amazed at something that was an optical illusion, you know. But playing, with Mike Davis and doing shows with him, golly, he's living legend. He MC5 was the father of punk rock, and they raised up Iggy Pop and a lot of different stuff, and then the political stuff that was going on. They had this song, "Kick Out the Jams," MF, just say that, and you weren't supposed to say MF at all in the '60s and late '60s, and then Mike is talking about, and Rob was there. I forget Rob, whatever was their singer at the time, and he goes, "Whatever you do, don't say MF like this. Come on." And there'd be police all over the back there. So you see in a lot of the films of MC5 in the early days there's police all over. And he goes, "We were all smoked up and we're smoking pot left and right like this. And we're wondering if Rob's really going to say it or not like this." And he goes, just as pure as you could say it. He goes, "Kick out the jams," like this. And he goes, "And we were back in jail again." So just listening to them, and DJ, my friend that was over the other day, his band, he's friends with a guy, David LaFlame, who was, golly, Quicksilver Messenger. I don't know if you remember that group there, but anyway, a lot of the groups that were pretty famous in the late '60s, early '70s, great days, and so those are pretty much the most of the people that I know that have, had that I know were pretty famous. But my cousin Dominic Jordan invites me to go to Las Vegas, and he come up with a concept. If you look him up on Wikipedia, and you'll see the biggest acts, Usher to. He's one of the things he told me. He goes, "Anybody is anybody in R&B. They record at my studio like this," and he's not kidding. Like this, the list of the names is just phenomenal, and he calls Snoop Dogg Uncle Snoop. And
I love that.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and But I remember one of the videos he posted, and he's got a stack of cash. I mean, like this, and he goes, "Look at this!" And he's in a white Rolls Royce and stuff, and counting out money and like this. He goes, "There's all hundreds here, like this," and he goes, "It's all hundreds." Oh, he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, that's a 20, like this," and he's just throwing it off to the side, like it's a pariah type thing. But man, he was just a genius. He made it, his studio a compound essentially, and people can go there as a private airstrip, so they can fly in and out and have privacy. He has a part of it where they can make their videos and stuff there for the. So it's like the studio part, the video part, where they can do different types of videos, and then places for them to stay and stuff like this. So people can basically hang out there. So someone stole one of the famous people took off in his one of his. He has a bunch of cars, but that white Rolls, and I forgot who did it like that, but didn't want to give it back, kind of a thing. And but anyway, his name's Dominic Jordan, and the group, it's him and another guy called the Audibles, is what their name, and they got another Grammy. They've got Grammys all over the walls from different stuff they've done, and so anyway, I'm really small potatoes compared to my cousin, but it's been a very rich life. My health and issues that I deal with now have kind of got me where I'm sidelined. I'm old, I'm 73 now. And so to stand a long, long time, it gets, I basically can't do it anymore. So I get invited to do stuff, and I think people might think that I don't want to play with them for other reasons. And the reasons are it hurts, So.
Yeah, as somebody who has a hidden disability, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't understand because they see your face and they see the way you hold your body and they assume that you're perfectly capable.
Yes.
And they give you that strange look when you go, "I'm sorry, but because of my service in the military, my lifting days are done.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to go dancing at your concert.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit on the sidelines and nod my head
Yeah.
because I just physically can't do it anymore."
Yeah.
Yeah. And so something I'm curious about, though, right? Because what's that? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned the military. I worked for the Oregon Military Department as a military lease agent, and I got to meet tons of bands opening armories for rock concerts and stuff there. And like you see Korn, the stage there, I took that off there when they played there at the Salem one. Man, there's tons of, so in my closet, I've got tons of memorabilia from all the different bands, that Chevelle, Matchbox 20.
Were you able to meet all those guys?
I ate with a lot of
That is so
times.
cool. I'm so
And
jealous.
then had to instruct their security that we have security too, and that we need to communicate. I had to, when I open up the building, get an electrician to come through to check their gear to make sure it's safe, like that. So if it doesn't pass muster, they don't play, kind of a thing. And because these buildings are old armories in there. And so I had a lot of responsibility. I worked for Colonel Chilton was the person that had hired me. And then I ended up being a guard. And I ended up quitting that, and because it was just so strenuous. And but Alice in Chains, that was one of the groups I got to hang out with. They had family near here, and so after their concert and stuff there, they had like they didn't play for them, but they hung out and just partied with people that they knew and stuff there. So I was part of that kind of celebration kind of a thing. But I worked for years for the Oregon Military Department, and General Thayer, Tommy Thayer plays for this group called Is that me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have silenced that
Oh,
thing.
that's all right. It happens.
It's a med reminder. And anyway, I got to hang out with Tommy Thayer from Kiss and stuff there.
How cool is that?
And through one of the generals there. And we did not with Tommy Thayer, but with some of my friends and stuff there. We played for the military department, but I was armed guard for them. And then there was the airport. I became friends with a guy, Pete Duran, that was the base commander. Lauren Frankie, who was a base commander at the airfield and stuff there. And Pete was the person that took his place. And then the Anderson Readiness Center guarded there. And I worked for over 20 years at the Oregon State Hospital. And I became, first I worked as a psychiatric aide, and I worked maximum security. And that was really where, where they filmed the Cuckoo's
That's a whole other
Nest.
podcast altogether.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I worked there 20 years, and let me tell you, it was something else. It was a very positive and bad at times. But I became a behavioral therapist, and I still see some of the people doing good, and that, it just feels good to have helped people, and my father had some mental disabilities in the end, and got locked up for like a year and stuff there in a mental institution, and kind of helped me to understand what was going on, where some of the people were there for a paycheck. So I'll cut it off, but there's a whole lot of another part of my life that I become kind of a writer now. That if you look at my Facebook pages and stuff, you'll see a lot of things that I've written that are a lot of my life history. People I've saved and stuff there. And,
Yeah, and I love that too, because like I tell everybody that the number one requirement to be on my podcast is you have to be a kind person.
oh yeah,
You have to be.
yeah,
And I can tell right away. And one of the things that I was appreciative most when I met you the other day was just how kind and respectful you are, and your demeanor is.
oh thank you.
And so there's something I want to circle back on, because we've
Sure.
already been at it almost an hour. And
Okay,
there's a
yeah,
couple of
about
questions
done.
that I have to
Sure.
ask every artist, because
Yeah.
my interest is sort of like peaked high. And the first one is about the muse, because
The what?
the muse is a living and breathing thing, and you never know when she's going to visit you. So as somebody who has a writing and experience in the sort of creating the music, how do you capture an idea when it comes to you? Do you like record it? Do you write stuff down? Like, how do you capture the muse if she pays you a visit?
Well, I have so many vivid life experiences and things that put me close to God. Like surfing, playing music, people that affect me that have either helped or they've helped me with their nature and stuff. And I, I I went to Catholic school, and was an altar boy, and I went through my early life angry and a lot of things, so it wasn't like it all took, and I was always a good guy. But later on, and being mixed race and different things, through the hate and different things, that I learned to not react, or I'd be fighting a whole lot of people, kind
Yeah.
of thing, and become more of a person just to bring love. They say God is love, and one of the things that I learned is that if you want to be close to God, be love. Be love itself. And a lot of people don't know how to unconditionally love people, no matter if they're angry with them. This kind of thing is that I don't know if people really need to be saved, like people say, because everybody is a jewel to God, I believe. We're all so special. And seeing some of the people that had mental problems and stuff at the hospital and seeing them through medications or whatever, therapy, turn back to a different kind of person. And you see that maybe this person that you thought that just said, called you every name in the book and tried to kill you, you know, then you see this other time where they're bringing you stuff. Hey, I made this picture for you. I really like you, Joe, that you did that, you know, this. And over time, love and, like you say, niceness wins. It straight up wins. And you just got to be patient. And sometimes you're just planting seeds of love itself. You know, you don't have to say this God or this and that, you know. It's that we were created by somebody, something. We didn't just grow off a rock. Rocks don't turn into DNA and all kinds of things like that. So whatever the situation, because I have people that are friends that are Buddhist or this and that, you know, and arguing back and forth. And I like to just keep it to, hey, we were created by somebody and we have to be loved because none of us could have been grown. Babies have to be cared for. And so somebody lovingly took care of every animal, every little thing. And if they all started as infants and stuff that needed care and loving to grow. And whoever did that, the first people and first animals and stuff, had love to do that. And so anyway, I think when you speak of the muse and stuff like that, for me, it's an unknown. You know, I've never met God or whatever like that, but I talk to him all the time. And so, you know, you don't have to try as much for niceness when you make it your nature. And I think that there was a long time of working at it, and, you know, I still do, you know, but golly, when somebody almost got killed, someone cut me off in traffic the other day, and I found myself, you know, like that. But I pulled myself back, you know, maybe they're having a stroke, you know, or whatever like that, you know, so. But anyway, I appreciate you saying that. It's a wonderful thing when people appreciate you. And I appreciate you. You're such a nice person yourself. And
Thank you.
And anyway, you know, there's a lot of us that have different issues and that kind of thing. And you just overcome, take it a day at a time, and you just remember how special you are. You know, you are just one great person to hang out with, I tell you. And so.
And I appreciate that, right? Because like I do have, there's two things that I guarantee happen in life. One is nobody has the same exact story. Not even identical twins have the same life experience.
No.
And so the moment you try to bring judgment before curiosity and love, you're doing yourself a disservice. And two, there is no such thing as rugged individualism in this country. How many people helped you build this house? It wasn't just you. How many people built your car? How many people built your phone?
Yeah.
We rely on everyone to do so many things. So this idea of you can do everything by yourself isn't real. We live in a place where you have to rely on other people. And because we were relying and we are a community, the cost of not being kind is significant to everybody. Yeah. And I guess the other question that I love to ask every artist that I come through is, from your perspective, as somebody that has played for all of the bands that you've played with and have been a part of all of the music that you've been with, for the younger generation that's just picking up their instruments now, what advice would you give to them so that they don't give up. Because music is not an easy business. It requires a lot of work just to be stage ready.
Don't set your goals too high. Make it a daily goals of just getting a little practice time in. And don't forget the joy of the walk away along the way, because some of the best times were just learning that first song to play at that school and getting up there and playing it until that girl killed me, like that. But I look back and laugh, and my time with Willie Dixon, where I couldn't hardly keep the beats and stuff, and his wisdom that he's sharing me, and I don't know, Gary Mazier, the things that he showed me on guitar, and spending time with this master, guitar master, and other ones too. Jeff Lubansky was another one. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's one of he's helped teach me along. Guy Jesse Ruggles is another very good friend that not well right now, but just wonderful moments where we're hanging out, and he's telling me that, Joe, you played really good, but you did not play that right, kind of a thing. And being able to laugh at yourself a little bit, and realize that you're on a road, but hey, if you're playing guitar or whatever your instrument is, or you're a vocalist, just enjoy the time of learning while you're doing it, that it's not about the end game. So many people think that talent and being the best is what's going to get you over the hump. And I don't think it is. I think it's perseverance. And that takes, a drive that, I don't know, it's just important to have that drive. But it's also important to not beat yourself up when you can't seem to do it right that day. It'll get better. And even if it doesn't, still you got your guitar or whatever, and you still are a guitar player, or you still are this. It's we're a camaraderie, and it's you're in with the team, you're a musician, and there's good ones of us, there's bad ones. I'm not the best, but I'm a musician. I'm happy with it. And when I get around the best ones, ones I think, I enjoy the heck out of it. It's just a wonderful thing. And to meet these people that inspire me, golly, it's just smelling the roses along the way. I mean, how lucky can I get,
And I think that would be a perfect way for us to end this podcast, folks. And
thanks for your time.
I'll say the same thing I say always, folks. Be kind.
Yes.
We all live on the same planet. We share the same air, and this world would be just a little bit better if we treated everybody with a little bit of kindness and a little bit of respect. Joe, it's been a pleasure.
Same here.
I'm so happy to have known you. This was awesome.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
Yeah.